Welcome to Silverstone for what's set to be an exciting finale to the 2010 GT Cup Championship. This is the first year that the GT Cup has run as a championship, and it's certainly added another dimension to the racing this year. Today sees the culmination of 8 rounds, and it really couldn't be any closer at the top of the leaderboard. Add that to a damp qualifying session yesterday, which has left our championship leader starting down in 22nd position for race 1. I think it's fair to say it's going to be an interesting day of racing.
Well, we all went out on the new slicks to get them broken in for the start of the race. Alex flew off, I flew off. It was a bit messy out there. The rain came down really early on. We all made a quick dive to the pit lane to get to the wets. Got 2 laps in. Still had a wishbone problem, which the team was struggling to find, and just fell back.
We ended up with a set of slicks on the left-hand side and a set of wets on the right-hand side of the car, and that was born out of the fact that we've just run out of time. It certainly wasn't one or the other halfway through qualifying, and it was a split-second decision, and my fastest 2 laps were my last 2 laps, so it was pretty interesting. To have a 19-place advantage over Marco is fantastic. It blows the championship wide open. It's my first pole position that I've been chasing all year, and it now really gives me the confidence that I can win.
Tricky conditions in qualifying have left for a really fascinating grid today. Starting on pole position, well, it's GT Cup newcomer Justin Sherwood. Lining up next to him on the front row, another guy that made the right choice with tyres, Don Grice. But this is where it starts to get interesting as far as the championship's concerned. Starting on the second row, it's Keith Webster. He currently sits second in the championship, so this starting position is going to be a real bonus for him. But then you have to go way back down the grid, right the way as far as you can see. Down here in 10th, well, it's Alex Martin. He's running 3rd in the championship, but pretty bad starting position for him. But as far as the championship leader goes, Marco Pullen, well, look way back down there, 22nd position.
Well, everything to play for still this weekend. Championship leader Marco Pullen a long way back, but with 7 drivers in contention, it's still wide open. Justin Sherwood taking pole position with Don Grice alongside him on the front row. Keith Webster an excellent 3rd, and David Back well up in 4th. They head the Group 2 runners. Well, the mixed conditions in qualifying meant that Sarah Bennett-Baggs finished an excellent 15th position to lead Group 3, with Tom Andrew second in Group 3 in 19th place. There's ever a huge grid in the GT Cup Championship with David Bottrell and Dan Norris-Jones. I think we can expect to see them going very well from the back row of the grid. Seems a long time since April when we were last here for the first round of the Championship on the Grand Prix circuit. We're about to go racing on the national circuit as the white Porsche of Justin Sherwood paces them over the start and finish line. When the red lights go out, we'll be racing. They're being held. Out they go now, away we go as they charge down towards Copse the first time. It's looking congested. Keith Webster's had a touch and he goes into David Back. Back slides out. I don't think he's going to have picked up any damage as they all make it through Copse. As nothing too untoward in the midfield. That's Michael Simmons who's recovering from a bit of a moment as well. But what has happened to Keith Webster? He's been damaged is the answer, and Webster disaster for him as we go side by side between the leaders into Beckett's the first time. Justin Sherwood outbreaks himself, and Don Grice in the big mean BMW goes through into the lead of the race. Sherwood recovers in 2nd, then Andy Ruin, a great start from him. He's in 3rd, and Jim Geddy as well up in the Ferrari. So down towards Brooklands for the first time of asking. And Danny Winstanley in 5th, and it's good to see Colin Simpson back in the Marcos Mantis. Those leading 6 cars breaking well clear of the rest of the pack as a result of that early incident. As Sherwood taking a slightly wider line going through Luffield, that gives Andy Ruin half an opening up the inside. Sherwood getting the power down nice and early in the Porsche, having a little bit of a slide as a result. Means that Don Grice is just beginning to pull away. Danny Winstanley also chasing down Jim Geddy. Into Copse they go, as Winstanley forces Geddy to go defensive. Toby Tarrant-Willis also well up in the Porsche as we've got a spin there from Andy Ruin, and he tags Jim Geddy, and well, nothing really that Geddy could have done there, and Ruin some fluid coming out. That may be a problem for him. Tarrant Willis also being involved in that melee. What it has meant, though, is that Fred Sherwood has closed now. Say Fred Sherwood, it's Justin Sherwood. Of course, it was Fred, his father, who ran Justin in his single-seater days. Justin Sherwood closing in on the tail of Don Grice as the safety car goes out, because we've got David back stranded in the middle of the track. Oh no, into the pits comes Keith Webster, and that doesn't look too healthy, but hopefully none of the internal organs are damaged. They're going to be changing the wheel. What's this? We're in car with Alex Martin as he pulls off the track. Disaster for the Group 1 Championship leader. So Alex Martin out of the race. He's recovering the cross-country way back to his pits as the safety car pulls in now. And Justin Sherwood leads them away with Don Grice in second place, Danny Winstanley in third position as they stream on towards Copse Corner once more. Now, will Justin Sherwood be able to repeat his qualifying form and drive away from the rest of the pack? There's Benjamin Harvey in the KTM crossbow, and that's Marco Pullen, who has come up a long, long way. Marco Pullen having an excellent drive, but he's known as being a feisty racer, and he's really putting that to very good effect today. As Toby Tarrant Willis is the next on Marco Pullen's shopping list. Tarrant Willis running a little bit wide in the Porsche. As we've also got, recovering there, Jim Geddy out of the pits goes Keith Webster. He's some way down as Danny Winstanley looks to the inside of Don Grice, and he's also got Gary Eastwood homing on his tail. Don't think Danny's going to have any joy up the inside into Brooklands that time. No, he's not. Grice covering the line in plenty of time, and that BMW looks absolutely fantastic. The GT Cup Championship, as ever, multi-mark racing at its best. The BMW heading the TVR, and then the Ferrari of Gary Eastwood. It's a Porsche leading the race, and that's Justin Sherwood, who's now beginning to build a rather healthy advantage over Don Grice. And it's largely because Grice is being hassled all the way by Danny Winstanley. Great to see him back in the TVR. As well, Grice has got his indicator on, pointing to the left. I think Danny Winstanley taking absolutely no notice of that whatsoever, and Gary Eastwood lurking very much with intent as they make their way round Beckett's. Winstanley just hooking his front right tyre over the curbs, and that gives him a good exit actually as they head onto the National Straight. Now Winstanley can get an inside run here on Don Grice. He may be able to pick his way through. It depends how brave they're feeling on the brakes. The bravest is Gary Eastwood. Around the outside of Danny Winstanley he goes. Superb move from Gary Eastwood. Well, back in car with Keith Webster, who is very much in the mix. Look at this, cars coming from every direction. You can see him working the pedals as he tips the orange BMW into Brooklands. It's all looking a little bit congested. There's contact ahead of him, and Webster spins round. He was going to the inside of Robert Koenig, and Webster spins round. Well, out of the race, unfortunately, as well goes Rupert Martin in the Ferrari. Martin beached in the gravel trap as Group 3 leader Sarah Bennett-Baggs continues on her way. It's been an excellent weekend for her thus far. Will she continue that form all the way to the finish? Well, Marco Pullen is now the leader of Group 2, but he's got Mark Charlton in the Lotus all on his tail, and also Benjamin Harvey having one of his strongest drives of the season. Don Grice is still doing what he can to keep Danny Winstanley at bay. And, well, Keith Webster, having recovered from that spin, is now almost back in his rightful position, albeit a couple of laps down, because that's exactly where he qualified, and here he is hassling Danny Winstanley once more. As we have got Mark Charlton moving to the inside of Marco Pullen and into the lead of Group 2. So Charlton in the Lotus putting in a very fine performance indeed. Marco Pullen, however, with one eye towards the championship. Not sure whether he'll know about the trials and tribulations of Keith Webster or indeed the demise of Alex Martin, but the fates are very much stacking in his order in this, the first of 2 races today here at Silverstone. So another lap completed by Marco Pullen. The car leading that group is Leon Price. Then we've got Mark Charlton, who is going superbly in the Lotus. You can see the aggressive body language as Toby Tarrant Willis hooks the wheel on the curb. Around he goes, no harm done. He'll have lost a position, but no more, as Keith Webster is doing a bit of an Eddie Irvine here. He's hassling Danny Winstanley. Winstanley goes defensive and locks up his brakes as well, going to Brooklands. A big lock-up from Danny Winstanley, as here comes the race leader out of the final turn, and Justin Sherwood is who is going to claim a maiden victory in the GT Cup Championship. A superb drive from Justin. Across line he goes, out goes the checkered flag. Sherwood taking the win from in second place. Another excellent drive from Gary Eastwood, and then Danny Winstanley claiming third on the line, having withstood the attentions of Keith Webster and Don Grice. But it's Justin Sherwood who claims the glory in race 1. Well, after the race, a 20-second penalty imposed on Mark Charlton promoted Marco Pullen to an excellent 8th position. However, it was Justin Sherwood who took the win from Gary Eastwood and Danny Winstanley. Sarah Bennett-Baggs, an excellent 10th place for her. Well, in terms of the group results, Justin Sherwood, Gary Eastwood, Danny Winstanley top 3 in the race, and the Group 1 podium. Group 2 podium, Marco Pullen claiming the honours from Benjamin Harvey and Chris Bentley. And in Group 3, it was Sarah Bennett-Baggs from Tom Andrew and Dan Norris-Jones.
Well, Justin, welcome to GT Cup. That's a really pretty good way to start your foray into GT Cup with a win.
Yeah, it's fantastic, thank you. Yes, I haven't raced for 4 years, so it's first time back really. And before that I was racing in single seaters, so the Porsche is totally different. But no, qualifying went well yesterday, and followed up with a race result. It was good.
So Sarah, it's been a while in coming, but now your second win, group win in GT Cup. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, yeah, and I really enjoyed that. Lots of stuff going on. I was just really looking after the car and mincing through the slippery bits, trying to avoid the accidents, and put my head down and just cracking on really. It was great.
Well, Tom, congratulations. That makes you Group 3 champion of the GT Cup. How's that feel?
Yeah, thanks very much. It feels really great to be a Group 3 champion. Can't have asked for a better season. Car ran on form every single time. Big thanks to the team for making there's no breakdowns apart from the start of the season, and really reliable car.
So that means now race 2, just take it easy.
I think so, yeah. I think we're just pressure's off now, so we can just go out there and enjoy ourselves, stay out of trouble, and bring the car home.
Well, that was an exciting race for the drivers. Now it's the turn of the mechanics to get these cars ready for race 2. I'll see you after the break.